Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rekakadash, and double honors and respect to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me this truth, as well as much respect and honors to the brothers that are pushing this truth in sincerity across the four winds of this earth and risking their lives and freedom to do so. I would also like to give much honors and respect to the brothers and sisters that are of the hopeful elect, that are doing their very best to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High to the best of their abilities. Shalom. I have this article right here, and this is coming from usatoday.com. And this is actually a fairly new article. It's dated December the 11th. And before I dive into this article, I'll say this right here. I'm going to be very careful with some of the words that I say, because you already know how these devils like to get down, especially when you start talking about particular topics such as what's mentioned in this article right here. Okay, the title of the article, it says at least 254 quarantined in South Carolina over accelerating measles outbreak. And I'm just going to read a little bit of this article. It says hundreds of people, including children, are quarantined in South Carolina on the heels of an upstate measles outbreak, which health leaders said stems from a lack of V's in recent holiday travel. Okay, you heard that? You see what they mentioned in the article? They said lack of V's. Okay. It says at least 111 people have contracted measles since the outbreak began in early October, according to the South Carolina Department of Public Health. It says of the cases reported in the state's Northwest region, 105 people were unV'd. It says state epidemiologist Linda Bell announced during a Wednesday, December 10th news briefing. You see how they keep mentioning up this word V? They keep talking about people's V status. Okay. Now here it is. I'll say this right here. I'm not saying that there's no outbreak that's happening in South Carolina. I'm not saying that at all. But what I will say is I would not be trusting in Esau and all of his different Beetlejuices. That's one thing I would not be doing. Okay. Now here it is. I want to say now over the past maybe few years, couple of years, maybe 2-3 years, we've been hearing about, an outbreak of measles popping up in various states throughout Babylon the Great. Okay. And it's just me personally. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay. If there is an outbreak that's happening in South Carolina right now, I wouldn't be surprised if this is stemming from, that stuff that this devil came out with, for that C-scamdemic that a lot of people ran down and trusted this devil with. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying that it is, but at the same time, I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised. Because here it is, since this devil came out with, that Beetlejuice that he came out with, for that C-scamdemic, a lot of people, they ran down there and they trusted in this devil with that stuff. Even though the warnings went out, you still had a lot of our people. They ran down there and they trusted in Esau with that stuff that he came out with, for that C-scamdemic. And since that stuff has been out, that Beetlejuice has been out, there's been all types of different illnesses that have been on the rise. Okay, there's been all types of pestilences that have been on the rise. Okay, you got people that are dropping left and right. Okay, people are just becoming unalive all of a sudden. Here it is. It seems like almost every week or every other week, I'm hearing about somebody that I either went to school with or somebody that I know. They're just all of a sudden becoming unalive. Here it is just a couple of days ago. I found out that a classmate of mine, he became unalive all of a sudden, And I can remember a few years back when this devil was pushing that Beetlejuice very hard for that C-scamdemic. This classmate of mine, he was one of those that was pushing it. Okay, he was one of those who was trying to get people to run down there and trust in Esau and allow Esau to violate them with that stuff. He was one of them. Okay, and here it is, just a couple of days ago, he became unalive. But again, one thing I would not be trusted in this devil with, is his different Beetlejuices. And see, and if there is an outbreak that's going on down there, Esau, you best believe he's behind it. Okay, because this is what this devil brings. Esau, he brings nothing but confusion, disease, death, and destruction. Wherever this devil goes, this is what he brings. Okay. And see, and with that also being said, don't be surprised if this devil tries to take this thing and blow it up, make it into something bigger. Don't be surprised. Okay. It says the remaining 6 include 3 people who received only one of the 2 recommended V's. It says Bell said while another person was V'd, it says, and the V status of the other 2 is unknown. And again, this is what these devils want. Okay, they want people to run down there, okay, and and drink their Beetlejuices. I'll say it like that. Okay. And again, problem, action, solution. These devils, they create the problem, get the people's reaction. And then here it is, these devils, they'll act like they're the good guys. Okay. And they'll have the solution already planned out. But they'll act like they're the good guys and they're bringing their solution. And here it is, these devils' solution is that it's their Beetlejuice. Okay. These different Beetlejuices that they come out with. But again, Israel, this devil's solution is not going to benefit you. Okay. Because this devil doesn't have your best interest at heart. All these different diseases and things like that and pestilences that are on the rise, this devil, he's in the lab right now, okay? Coming up with more pestilences to try to put them out there, to try to cause people to fall. Esau is the reason why there's so many different pestilences and things like that are on the rise, and illnesses that are on the rise, okay? Because again, this is what this devil brings. He's the wicked. He wants to see people fall. And again, trusting in this devil with all of his different Beetlejuices and whatnot, it's not going to do you any good. It's going to do more harm than good, Because I ain't going to lie. I mean, I know so many different people, even after the warnings went out, they ran down there and they trusted in this devil with that stuff. And they're having all types of issues as a result, dropping left and right, all of a sudden. But, again, don't be surprised if Esau tries to take this thing and blow it up and try to make it something bigger than what it is, But in this devil, he wants to, instill fear in people so people will run down there and allow him to violate them, with his different Beetlejuices and whatnot. And so, I saw this short news clipping right here, and I just thought that I would sound the alarm. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to bring out a couple of scriptures and then we will end the lesson. Okay, the first scripture I want to go to is in the book of 2 Corinthians, and this is chapter 2, and this is verse 11. And it reads, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And see, this devil Esau, he has so many different devices, and this devil, he's putting all of these different devices out here because he wants to keep the people in a sick and weakened state, and he wants to see people fall, okay? These devils, they have an agenda, okay? These devils they're trying to bring in their NWO, and part of that NWO is to depopulate. And in order to try to accomplish that goal of depopulating, these devils, they're in the lab right now, creating more pestilences and creating more Beetlejuices, to try to cause the people to fall and to try to keep the people in a sick and weakened state, to try to keep the people's lives short, And so, all of these different Beetlejuices that this devil is coming up with, this is just one of his many devices to try to keep the people in a sick and weakened state and to try to keep the people's lives short. Also, too, one of this devil's many devices is his news media, okay? Because here it is, he uses his news media to try to instill fear in people. Here it is during that C-scamdemic. This devil, he used his news media to try to instill fear in people and to try to persuade people to trust in him with that stuff that he came out with for that C-scamdemic. And a lot of people, they took the bait and they fell for it. And they ran down there and they trusted in this devil with that stuff that he came out with for that C-scamdemic. And we're seeing the outcome of what's happening to a lot of these people who trusted in this devil with that stuff. Okay. People are, having all types of issues. People are becoming unalive all of a sudden and whatnot, 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 11 again, it says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And, this devil, he has an agenda. As I was saying, this devil, he wants to keep the people's lives short. He wants to depopulate. And this devil, he really wants to do away with the nation of Israel. Mainly the elect of Israel, because this devil knows that the elect of Israel is up next for rulership. He knows that Israel, starting with the elect of Israel, is up next for rulership. Okay? And so this devil, he's trying to do everything he can to prolong his rulership. And so this is why this devil, he's in the lab right now, creating all of these different pesticides and all these different Beetlejuices, because he wants to keep people's lives short. He wants to cause people to fall, and he mainly wants to do away with the nation of Israel. Okay, because he's trying to prolong his rulership. He's trying to bring in his NWO and prolong his rulership. But this devil only has a set amount of time to rule. Okay, and we're at the end of Esau's rulership. And no matter how hard this devil tries to extend his rulership, he's not going to be able to. Okay? This devil's kingdom is literally falling right before our eyes, and it's going to fall very soon, Lord willing. But again, Esau is not to be trusted. And all of these different, concoctions that this devil is coming up with, it's just one of his many devices, okay? To try to keep people in a sick and weakened state and to try to keep the people's lives short. Also, too, this devil, as I have mentioned, he's in the lab right now, coming up with more pesticides and whatnot, to try to keep the people's lives short, okay? He's, using this news meter to try to instill fear in people, saying that, this is an outbreak on the rise and whatnot, to try to get the people to basically trust in him and run down to him and allow him to violate them with all of those different Beetlejuices that he's coming up with. Again, Esau is not to be trusted. He's not your friend in Israel. Okay, he doesn't have your best interests at heart. This devil has proven time and time again that he is the enemy. Okay, I want to go to the book of Ecclesiasticus chapter 38, and this is verse 4. And it reads, "The Lord hath created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor them." Okay, because the Most High gave us herbs as medicine. But here it is, you had this devil, John D. Rockefeller. He changed all of that. He changed how, medicine is practiced. And this devil, he did that to basically feed big pharma's pockets, to try to keep the people in and out of the healthcare system, not curing them, okay? But, to basically squeeze all of the money and all of the life out of the people. That's what this devil did, okay? John D. Rockefeller was a straight up devil. And these devils, they're going to have to pay for all of the wickedness that they have done. They have a great and terrible judgment coming to them very soon, And again, we're at the end of this devil's rulership. He doesn't have much longer in the power seat. His kingdom is literally falling right before our eyes, and it's going to fall very soon. Okay, let's go to Job. I want to go to the book of Job. This is Job chapter 13, and this is verse 4. And it reads, "But ye are forgers of lies. Ye are all physicians of no value." Okay, and see this devil Esau, he's a forger of lies. Okay, and he's a physician of no value. Because here it is, this devil, he will tell you that he's treating you for one illness, and then he will intentionally create another illness. Okay, because here it is, a lot of people who trusted in this devil, with that stuff that he came out with during that C-scamdemic, they're having all types of other issues. Again, this devil, he lied to the people, and he was telling the people that if you trusted in him, okay, with his Beetlejuice, that you wouldn't get the C. Okay, but that turned out to be a lie, because here it is, a lot of people who ran down there and trusted in Esau with that stuff that he came out with. They ended up getting the C, plus they ended up getting other health issues as well. Okay, and see, here it is, all types of cancers and heart disease, and is on the rise. You got infertility issues. A lot of people are having infertility issues. That's on the rise. Okay, plus numerous other illnesses are on the rise after, a lot of people allowed this devil Esau to violate them with that stuff that he came out with for that C-scamdemic. Okay, you got people that are just suddenly becoming unalive. Okay, that's on the rise. As I had mentioned, it seems like almost every week or every other week there's I'm hearing about someone that I either went to school with or someone that I know. They're just all of a sudden becoming unalive. Okay, and we know what's causing that, because a lot of people during that C-scamdemic, they ran under to this devil and they trusted in that devil with that stuff. Again, and see, the warnings went out, but a lot of our people, they ignored the warnings. They ignored the warnings. Again, Esau is not your friend, Israel. Esau is the enemy. He's not to be trusted. And that leads me to my next scripture. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 10. And it reads, "Never trust thy enemy. For like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness." Okay? And see, Esau is the enemy. Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, is our enemy, and he is not to be trusted. This devil, he has proven time and time again that he is our enemy. This devil has been raping, robbing, and murdering our people all throughout history, and he's still doing it to this day. And everywhere this devil goes, he brings nothing but confusion. He sows discord. Okay, he brings disease, destruction. That's what this devil brings. He's the wicked. Okay, and see, this devil, he wants to see people fall. He's in the lab right now, okay, trying to create more pestilences to try to cause the people to fall. He's in the lab right now, coming up with more Beetlejuices to try to cause the people to fall. He's not to be trusted. He'll act like he's your friend. He'll act, he'll come to you all soft-spoken and friendly and everything like that, acting like he wants to help you. But in the back of his mind, he wants to destroy you. He wants to do away with you, Israel. I would not be trusting this devil with all of his different Beetlejuices, But you're going to have some simpletons. They're going to run down there and they're going to trust this devil. They're going to allow this devil to violate them. With his different Beetlejuices. You still got people right now running down there to Esau, allowing Esau to violate them with that stuff that he came out with for that seed scamdemic. Okay, this is the book of Psalm, and this is chapter 118, and I want to start in verse 8. And it reads, "It is better to trust in the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua than to put confidence in man." Verse 9, "It is better to trust in the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua than to put confidence in princes." And that's right. Okay? Because, trusting in man and trusting in princes versus trusting in the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, is the reason why a lot of our people are having all types of issues right now. Okay? Here it is. Because of trusting in man and trusting in princes versus trusting in the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is the reason why a lot of our people are having all types of health issues and they're flopping and dropping left and right. Okay? Because they trusted in man, they trusted in princes versus trusting in the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. They trusted in this devil Esau versus trusting in the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. And again, Esau has proven time and time again that he is the enemy, that he is the wicked, And again, the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua told us to never trust our enemy. And again, Esau has proven time and time again that he is the enemy. But what do a lot of our people do? They want to befriend this devil. They want to put their faith and trust in this devil. And in the end, they get burnt, Because here it is again, a lot. I was telling you about a classmate of mine. A couple of days ago, he passed away, And here it is. A few years back, when Esau was pushing that stuff that he came out with for that seed scamdemic, this classmate of mine, he was on that bandwagon, okay, doing the same thing, pushing it. And here it is. He's no longer here now, as a result of putting his faith and trust in the devil versus putting his faith and trust in the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. It ended bad for him because he put his faith and trust in man and princes versus trusting in the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Okay, I want to end off in the book of Proverbs, and this is chapter 3, and this is verse 5. And it reads, "Trust in the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua with all thy heart, and lean not unto thy own understanding." Okay, and so we're supposed to put all of our faith and trust in the Lord and not lean on our own understanding. And again, the Lord says to never trust thy enemy, as pursuant to Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 10. And Esau has proven time and time again that he is our enemy, But a lot of our people, they want to put their faith and trust in this devil Esau. Here it is, a lot of our people, they want to trust in Esau and all of these different Beetlejuices that he comes out with. Here it is, you still got people right now running down under Esau, allowing Esau to violate them with them different Beetlejuices. And then they're wondering why they're having all types of health issues. They're wondering why, they're in a sick and weakened state. This is why you're having a lot of people that are flopping and dropping left and right out here. Because what they're doing is they're leaning on their own understanding and they're putting their faith and trust in this devil Esau. They're putting their faith and trust in the enemy versus putting their faith and trust in the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Proverbs chapter 3, this is verse 6. It says, "In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths." Okay, and so, with that being said, we're supposed to lean on the Lord. Again, we're supposed to lean on the Lord and acknowledge the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua in all of our ways. And by acknowledging and putting all of our faith and trust in the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, he will keep us on a straight and righteous path. The Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua will keep us on a straight and righteous path to avoid all of these different snares that this devil Esau is setting out here. And this devil Esau, he's setting all of these different traps out here because he wants to see the people in a sick and weakened state. This devil, as I was mentioning, he's in the lab right now, creating more pestilences so that he can put them out here to try to keep the people in a sick and weakened state and to try to cause the people to fall. He's also in the lab right now coming up with more Beetlejuices, okay, to try to keep the people in a sick and weakened state and to try to cause the people to fall. Again, this devil Esau, he's not to be trusted. But a lot of our people, they want to put their faith and trust in this devil, and it's ending bad for them. It's ending bad for them. Because again, this devil, he's the wicked. He's the enemy. Esau Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, is the enemy. Verse 6 again, it says, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Again, we're supposed to lean on the Lord and acknowledge the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai in all of our ways. And by doing so, the Lord will keep us on a straight and righteous path to avoid all of these different snares that this devil Esau is setting out here. And so, that's pretty much the point. I'm going to go ahead and end off here. I hope it was edifying. Once again, I want to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, and double honors and respect to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Kwam Yasharal and Abal Babal. Shalom.